to talk a little bit about Firewise and fire danger in Forest Lakes. It's something that we have to deal with because owning a property here or thinking about buying a property here, it is something that you really need to worry about. It's fire, right? We're not going to talk about it in a dramatic way or a fear-based way, but we're going to try to talk about it today in a realistic, educated, mountain living type of way. And since I live in the mountains, I want to share with you. So Forest Lakes is a beautiful community, and it sits in a dense mixed conifer forest at 7,500 feet in elevation. What that means is that we live in what's called a wildland urban interface. I know that's a new term for me too. Wildland urban interface, where homes and forest meet. And in this environment, it's not a matter of if a wildfire is going to happen, but more of a matter of when. So let's talk about what it means and what Firewise really is. So why is fire risk higher here? Well, because we're completely surrounded by the Apache Sitgraves National Forest. And that means that there's no natural fire break created between us and the forest. Now, Forestry Service has gone out there and they've actually made some forest breaks. And back in 2001, when we had the big Rodeo Chideskai fire that came from Show Low to Heber, real close to Forest Lakes, the residents of Forest Lakes went out and created a fire break so that we would be saved. However, that was over 25 years ago, and some of those trees have grown back. So we need to continue making that fire break. All right? Lightning storms are very common up here in the Mogollon Rim. In fact, the monsoon in the summertime often brings dry lightning. It means it's lightning, it's not raining, there's no thunderstorm present. And so we see that happening where a tree, especially a dead one, gets struck by lightning, it starts a fire. Historically, that fire season runs from May through July, but if we don't get a lot of weather in the wintertime, we can get that season as early as April. So it's something we need to be cognizant of it. I talked a little bit about the Rodeo Chideskai fire in 2002, not 2001, which burned up to the south side of Forest Lakes. It came really close. The Federal Wildfire Risk Assessment classifies us as very high risk. And what does that have to do with anything? Well, it affects our insurance underwriting. Some people they have trouble getting insurance here, and it's a big deal. If you're getting a mortgage, you have to have insurance. So they go together. Also, the mitigation requirements, meaning keeping the forest or the properties free of combustibles and maintaining your property and keeping those expectations high when maintaining your property, right? But guess what? It's not a reason to panic. It's a reason to prepare. So what does Firewise really mean? Well, Firewise is actually a nationally recognized program that focuses on reducing the wildfire risk in homes and communities. It's not about eliminating the fire, but about reducing the fuels and the risk, increasing the survivability. And so we are trying to become a Firewise community. We have a CWPP that we've been writing with the county to be able to get the protection that we need with our Firewise program. But it really starts in one of the three main areas, which is defensible space. What is defensible space? So defensible space meaning the space between you, your structure, your house, your cabin, your outbuildings, your garages, your sheds, and the surrounding vegetation. So what can you do? Remove the dead trees and the brush. Clean the pine needles from your roofs and your gutters. Even though you have a metal roof, don't assume that the next rainfall is going to have those pine needles sliding down. They don't necessarily do that. Trim the lower tree limbs. I believe that they say that they want them trimmed up to 8 to 10 feet. I know that might be a little tricky. However, what's really cool about the ponderosa pines is that they're self-trimming. The dead ones, the lower branches typically fall out of the trees in windstorms, but you might have to go out there and give it a little bit of a help. Also, maintaining separation in the tree canopies. What does that mean? It means keeping space between the trees. So it means thinning out your lot a little bit. Removing a few trees, especially if you've got clumps of them, the trees will actually survive better too if you thin them out. And creating a non-combustible zone immediately around your home. So within 3 to 5 feet of your home, you want to get rid of things like stacked firewood, no wood mulch for sure, but you should have things like gravel or rock or other non-flammable materials close to your property, and that will help protect it. The second area of Firewise is called structure hardening. And what does it do? It makes you look at your dwelling, your house, your cabin, and what are the components that are in that cabin that can make it more fire resistant. Not fireproof, but fire resistant. So having Class A roofing materials, ember resistant vents, enclosed eaves, proper deck construction. I know that's a big one right there. And double pane windows. Double pane windows helps a lot too. Because most homes that ignite in wildfires do so from flying embers, not direct flames. And these small upgrades can really increase your survivability of a forest fire. And if you do these things, the fire department will actually help. They will help. If you haven't done any of these things, they might just chalk off your property and say, you know what, it's not going to survive, so we're going to go on to the ones that will. So, and the third section is ongoing maintenance. It's not just a one-time cleanup, because living in the pines means that we get needles that fall every single year. That wind is going to bring debris, and guess what? Just like we do, the trees get older as well. So fuel reduction is ongoing. Now, the fire district here in Forest Lakes, which is a great asset, they actively support that mitigation effort, and they have participated in grant-funded fuel reduction programs to help property owners. We even have FLOA, the Forest Lakes Owners Association, that is going to be rolling out some programs in 2026 to be able to help property owners, especially with those things like pine needle cleanup. So really, really important programs that are coming through. Also, the fire district, they not only provide fire protection, but also EMS services. So if you are injured in cutting down your pine trees or raking your pine needles, they can help with that as well. Did you know that there's 149 fire hydrants in our community? And they're all connected to the water system. So they will be able to hook up a hose and help put out the fire should it get close to your property. And we also have the Green Waste Transfer Station. It is located just outside of the community on the 99 road. And they have a variety of hours, and they do change with the weather patterns, because if it's too rainy, it's too muddy. But that is a great place to go throw the branches, the pine needles especially. And in 2026, FLOA is going to reward you for every load of pine needles that you dump off there. They will give you an entry into their monthly drawings for some gift cards to the 260 Roadhouse. So another reason to participate in cleaning up your pine needles, right? And this is a great opportunity to help clean up the community, because fuel removal reduces your risk, right? So get rid of it, less risk of your property actually starting on fire. All right, so something that you guys need to understand, whether you have purchased here in the past or you're thinking about purchasing here, but you might want to consider reviewing the property that you're going to be buying for defensible space compliance. That's actually a negotiable item, right? Has the homeowner who's selling the property cleaned up the property around the dwelling within that 3 to 5 feet to make it compliance with the defensible space for Firewise? Look at the roof. big deal, right? Inspect the deck and the siding. There's siding out there that looks like wood, but it's actually made out of steel. So probably a good thing to have in the forest, right? Get those insurance quotes. In fact, you can ask the homeowner, where are they getting their insurance from? Don't always assume that your insurer that you have in another part of the state or out of state is going to be able to insure your property in Forest Lakes. And then understand the wildfire deductibles, because they might be higher than you're used to. And so you want to consider those things. Insurance carriers are tightening underwriting guidelines in forested communities statewide, so something to really consider. And your premiums probably going to be higher, or they might have specific mitigation requirements that you have to have. So not only that 3 to 5 foot, but maybe 5 to 20 feet away from your property. Might have to have cleared the land as well. So just so that you're not caught off guard, right? So here's the important part. Fire risk is real, but it is also manageable. The forest ecosystems are fire adapted. Forest ecosystems are fire adapted. Ponderosa pine forest historically experienced frequent, low intense burns. Decades of suppression increased fuel loads. Today, the thinning, the prescribed burns, and community mitigation efforts are designed to restore balance. So living here means participating in that stewardship. It's a part of mountain ownership. Understanding Firewise is not about fear, it's about responsibility. And Forest Lakes offers cool summers, dark skies, wildlife, peace and quiet, but it also requires active participation in protecting your home and community. So if you're buying here, or if you already own, and you want guidance on evaluating fire mitigation from a real estate and resale perspective, I am definitely here to help. I even teach this class to realtors throughout the state so that they're aware of the fire dangers when they're helping buyers and sellers in these communities. Again, this is Joan with the Palms and Vines Group, helping you navigate changes in altitude and changes in attitude. And in Forest Lakes, that also means navigating fire intelligently. See you in the pines.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe.